jail, prison, confinement, bad places to find yourself in. By all means, avoid these places. What's going on, everybody? I'm Christopher. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for watching this content. The only thing that I ask and appreciate is that you like the video. The US has this stigma of having really bad jails and prisons. I don't know much about prison, but from what I do know, what I've learned from television and stuff like that back in the States is that they are bad. Obviously, there are some ones that are a bit less bad, but overall, US prisons are considered pretty terrible. I heard some Russian prisons and some UK prisons are pretty bad too, but nonetheless, the US prisons have a stigma of being pretty terrible. While I had seen videos and read about prisons here in Europe, I didn't really look into German prisons until now. Apparently, Germany has a pretty dangerous and bad prison too. And that's what I'm gonna look at today. I found this video from Welt, and we're gonna start watching this and see how bad German prisons can be. So here we go.
Surrounded by unscalable walls and razor-barbed wire, riddled with cameras and motion sensors, and lit up both day and night.
See all that grass?
Aachen prison looks like a fortress. DANIA EMUNDTS has been in the prison for 8 years, but by choice. She works as a prison officer. Her most important tools? A set of keys and a personal alarm device.
This is our personal alarm device, called a PNG. I have to log in for it. We all have these in our belts, so that if something happens, we can raise an alarm to the whole ward.
Obviously, that's necessary because you don't want to be walking around with weapons. When people are in desperate positions and in positions where their backs are against the wall, such as what prisons are like, people will do anything. And it doesn't matter if you're a male or female. If you have weapons on you, you become a target for those people who feel like they got nothing to lose, and they will try and get those weapons from you. So even in US prisons, it's the same way. Other than that, I don't think you can carry weapons around in any prison, anywhere.
And then they announce where help is needed, and other officers arrive.
The officers are not allowed to carry firearms, tasers, or pepper spray.
Running around here with a weapon would be too risky. When we're taking someone outside, then we have to be armed. But here in the building, it would be very easy for me to lose the weapon if I were alone on the ward with 20 men.
Barred windows and locked zones. The most frequent task which DANIA EMUNDTS does every day is opening and closing the doors.
I can already tell right off the bat that this place looks incredibly clean for a prison.
There's already some bad news waiting in her office.
Good morning.
Good morning. Were you with prisoner? He got into an altercation. Do you know what happened?
Yes, I was there, and the two of them had a little fight in the showers. The issue still hasn't been resolved. They're both still telling their sides. For now, they should be locked in.
So keep them both shut.
The video's 40 minutes, so we're not going to watch the whole thing.
The inmates are let out every morning at 6.
I go to open up just before 6. I go from door to door and do what's called a life check.
The prison houses exclusively male convicted criminals.
Good morning. First of all, I let out the inmates with jobs in the kitchen or maintenance.
Wait a minute, are those the cells? Are those the cells? That's crazy.
There's space for 4 people, but right now they're just 2. Good morning.
Oh my God!
Most of the single
Wow!
cells, officially called.
Look at these cells. Did you see that?
Holding rooms are 7 square meters in area.
Oh my gosh! Oh my! Demonetized. I'm demonetized.
Officers can look into the cells through.
So hold on a second. Did you see the cells? They're like individual rooms, like dorm rooms in a college or university, basically. I just seen that somebody had bowls and forks and utility stuff. Shoes, I seen posters on the wall. Hopefully I can blur that out so I don't get demonetized. This is their cell? When I think US cells, I think bars, concrete, loudness, like unruliness. These are like private little rooms. I may have chosen the wrong video. Dangerous? We'll see.
I have to make it a little cozy so I can feel good.
Oh.
The 30-year-old father must stay behind bars for almost 11 years. He's one of the few inmates who will discuss his crimes openly.
I've committed all sorts of crimes. I started early at around 14. I've done robbery, theft, grand theft auto, breaking and entering, assault. That's what I'm here for.
Wow.
In a few years, Christopher Ostrau will be free again. Other inmates
I can also see that he's got his piercings in. He's free to like express himself in that way. That's crazy.
will be locked in here forever.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Did he just say they'll be locked in there forever? Does that mean Germany does have life sentences? I didn't know that.
Are you working today?
I'm going a bit later today. I have an appointment with the barber, since he's coming from 7.
Okay.
I've told my boss.
Good. So I'll take you to work afterwards.
Exactly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Former trucker Peter TRENKWALDER has been sentenced to life with preventive detention
There you
for
go.
murder.
Look at this shit. These guys got TV and coffee, and this is prison? Let me tell you something. If you don't do good out in society, speaking in the States, if you don't do good and prison looked like this, I know a lot of people would choose this. They would choose this kind of privacy, this kind of like having everything you need and not being bothered by the general public and society. Wow, this is crazy. What else can we find?
There is in fact a Schalke fan. And somewhat unusually for Aachen prison, he happily invites us into his cell.
Let's see your cell.
So, hello there. Welcome to my kingdom. Let me introduce myself. My name is VOLKER. I'm a citizen of Germany and the Netherlands. You can see my German side. The cell, or the holding room, is in beautiful blue because at the national level, I'm a huge Schalke fan.
Look at this. It's all decorated. Look,
And if you
oh
come
my
in,
gosh,
you
he's
can
got
see that
food,
on the international level.
food shelves, cookware, curtains, posters. This is like home, man. This is like all the good things of home. Calendar.
Level, I support the Dutch soccer team. I also have a Frisian flag here on the right.
Schalke scarves, flags, baseball caps, and jerseys. This cell looks just like a fan store.
Exactly.
VOLKER NEEDEL is also serving a life sentence with preventive detention.
I got 9 years and 6 months for sexual abuse. I was also given preventive detention. That means next year on July 4th, I will have served my sentence, and from July 5th, I will serve my preventive detention.
VOLKER NEEDEL
how's that
does
life?
not want to divulge the nature of his sexual offense. In prison, that can be dangerous. Many inmates have wives and children. The additional preventive detention means that even though the 56-year-old has served his prison sentence, he still poses a threat to society.
So that's crazy. Oh, yeah, you got your video games and everything. So this is crazy. So far, this doesn't even look like, I mean, you can't leave. And I feel like that's the only thing that makes it sort of prison-y. But he's got everything: TV, video games, food, cookware. He can express himself with posters and calendars and all kinds of sports paraphernalia and things to keep his mind right. I don't necessarily know if this is a bad thing, because most prisons around the world are about reform. They're about making the person a better person so that they can be an improvement to society once they're put back out there. So can you imagine if you got locked up in prison? Hopefully you don't. Keep your ass out of prison. If you got locked up in prison and you had everything you needed to stay sane. Whereas in stateside prisons, they are stereotypically lonely, you're battered, you're always watching your back, you don't have things to express yourself unless you like move up in the, I guess, the tiers of your prison level or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I've never been in prison. But what I mean is some people are able to eventually get jobs and have a little more freedom and access to stuff, you know, depending on their behavior and things like that. So that happens in the States, but here, I mean, this guy has everything right off the bat. Look at his cups and mugs, he drinks his coffee, he's got his food, everything in it. It's like a little apartment. It's like he has his own apartment. That's nothing short of astonishing.
We have to check that there aren't any blueprints or escape plans.
What DANIA reads the most are love letters.
These are real displays of affection, written over multiple days. And one to an inmate's daughter.
How bad would that suck to be reading people's mails and hearing how much the people affected by the person locked up misses that person, like kids writing their dads, kids writing their moms. Just, you know, you have to see all of that emotion through those kids' letters. It can't feel that good. I would hate to have to read people's mail.
There are several large workshops on the prison compound, from the joinery to the locksmiths. 10 different businesses produce their products here. They range from packaging jobs to complex assembly lines. The prison also has its own utility room, a laundry, and a warehouse.
Like I said, man, it's like your own little apartment. They got more stuff than some people who are out in society have. That's nuts.
The barber isn't here yet. We can hear when the door opens and go and see if he's arrived or not.
But this morning, the barber, who is self-employed, doesn't arrive.
A barber.
Peter TRENKWALDER must get ready for work. From most of the inmates' perspective, this 50-something has a dream job, working in the warehouse.
So this is my daily route to work.
8 doors are opened and shut in front and behind him. In the prison warehouse, Peter TRENKWALDER is the maintenance worker, meaning he's a jack of all trades. He cleans the uniforms, washes dirty dishes,
Wow.
and keeps the whole warehouse clean.
So that's another thing. They keep them busy. Looks like they keep them busy. So this guy stays busy. He keeps his mind occupied. He stays using his hands. He stays using his mind to do stuff. Just getting out of that room has to be a pleasure for them from time to time. Because even though they have everything they want, it still can probably feel a little enclosed, if you know what I mean. So this guy gets out and he has this job, you know, doing the dishes and the laundry and the uniforms and stuff like that. And that's crazy, man. That's amazing.
Low pay, but there's something the inmates like to forget.
That they're inmates.
If he says that 100 euros isn't enough, he's not counting the fact that people on the outside pay for his rent, for example. He lives here cost-free and is fed 3 times a day for free.
Exactly.
Some people could only dream of that.
That's exactly what I said.
And all of the visits to doctors, specialists, dentists, that all adds up. So I think his 100 euros are actually enough for him to buy tobacco or candy or whatever else he wants to buy.
I mean, that's the worst they have to worry about, right? Getting their cigarettes and some sweets.
Dirty washing is another popular spot.
First,
And this looks like somebody's room that they're over checking. But this, man, I'll tell you right now, this just looks like someone's apartment, bro. These guys got it good.
first rule of holding room inspections: anything can be a hiding place.
We've had hollowed out cans of fish, for example, that you'd think still look like regularly packed cans of fish. Once I even found money in the sole of someone's shoe, which you really wouldn't expect.
Even the mattresses are popular stash spots. It doesn't take long to cut a hole and stick a cell phone inside.
Of course, you always have to be careful not to catch a syringe or anything like that.
Oh,
Inmate
God.
Oscar's room, like many
They're
other
gonna get me demonetized, man.
with over 400 employees for around 800 inmates. This is the final destination for convicted felons. A food delivery has arrived. Werner Masak is an industry leader in deliveries for German prisons. He delivers to his clients in Aachen prison once a week.
Dann bauen wir überwiegend Vogelhäuser
We're mainly building birdhouses, nesting boxes,
für die Forst.
bat boxes for the Forest Service, and then
So this guy's serving 6.5 years, and he has a job, I guess, making bird boxes and stuff like that. Again, keeping their minds busy so they don't deteriorate and lose it, so that when you put them back out into society, if that's their destination, they won't be problematic again, or at least they'll be less problematic, less likely to be problematic.
Of the prison warehouse. He's also hung up a Schalke crest in the tailoring workshop.
Bin der Anstaltsschneider.
I'm the prison tailor for the convicted inmates. We have 2 tailors, one for convicted inmates and one for inmates awaiting trial, who's only there for when the clothing and laundry stack up. We don't make anything new, we only do repairs and patchwork.
So this guy ended up being the tailor for the prison, you know. I don't know if that's the only thing he does. I kind of skipped through the video, but, you know, they said he's there for life. So if that's what he's going to be doing for the rest of his life, that probably is kind of a prison sentence.
Another big difference is that we have a lot of drug addicts who require daily doses of methadone.
Thomas Klaus has seen it all in Aachen prison. From resuscitating an inmate to treating an officer whose neck an inmate had attacked with a fork. But there's one thing he still hasn't gotten used to.
We have to open and close every door. I've heard people say they even do it at home now, but that hasn't happened to me yet.
Meanwhile, inmate Peter Trenkwalder has returned to his cell, where he's awaiting his haircut. For the convicted murderer, television offers a glimpse of freedom.
Smoking right in his room. And yeah, having a TV could probably open up your world big time, because you can be anywhere as long as you have a television. If you're watching cartoons, that's where you are in that moment. If you're watching reality TV, that's where you are in that moment. If you're watching a game, that's where you are in that moment. It's a chance to get away. And I think that's one of the hugest differences between US prisons and other prisons around the world. US prisons are trying to punish you as bad as they can. They want it as worst for you as possible. If it's criminals who deserve that, which, you know, even that's a slippery slope too. I don't even want to get into that, but they want to punish you. They want you to hurt badly. Whereas these doesn't look like they're out to torture you. For some reason, some of these guys are still stabbing people in the foot with forks. I don't know what they could possibly want. I guess, you know, coming down to, you know, being angry with somebody else in the prison, but you got all this stuff and you're this well taken care of. I don't see how it can get any better than this for it being prison.
Meanwhile, prison officer DANIA EMUNDTS is handling office tasks. Working in a prison was never her dream job. But DANIA, who's in her mid-30s and married to a colleague, wanted a career with job security. Many aspects of working here are always the same. Wake up the inmates at 6 a.m. and bring them to work. Bring them back at 2:30 p.m. Then free time for the inmates and finally lights out at 9 p.m.
What makes working here so exciting is dealing with the inmates, for me personally at least. Here in the closed residence,
You would never hear that from someone that works at a US prison. She actually enjoys dealing with the inmates. That's crazy.
Sharp box cutter outside of the warehouse.
if I got off work now and was carrying the knife, if I was stopped on the way for a pocket check, for example, they could find the knife and assume that I intend to harm someone. It doesn't make a difference whether it's an officer or an inmate. It would be a security risk, and I would be immediately under suspicion whether or not I planned anything. It wouldn't matter if it was true or not, I would be immediately detained.
I feel like if this wasn't this prison, something like that would immediately disappear. Like, you would probably lose a tool like that quickly. It would be hidden and spread out within the prison, pieces taken off to create smaller and more weapons.
At close range. The victim only survived thanks to an emergency operation.
I'm in prison for 3 separate acts of violence, which got me sentenced to 10 years in prison. I've served 3 years and 3 months, so I have 8 years and 3 months left.
Like all inmates,
3 separate sentences, and he's he gets to go away for a while to make cookies. This is how he serves his sentence for what sounds like murder. I missed it, but it sounds like murder. He gets to make cookies.
All inmates. He dreams of freedom constantly.
The future I want is a sensible life. To be reintegrated into society. A crime-free life, that's the goal. Maybe even start a family, bring kids into the world, and work for my money to set a good example for them.
In his living area, freshly washed, following his shift in the warehouse. First, a cup of coffee.
Oh, you're home from work? Time for coffee?
His motto.
Passing time gets you through life. By that I mean that monotony plays a role in all the daily hardships you go through. But you always get through the day and hope to keep going on. So I tell myself, passing time gets you through life, without having time to think about the consequences, because I didn't plan the crime and see a family. My own desires and aspirations crop up again, no question.
Good night.
Good night.
They wished him good night. That's crazy. So that was the most dangerous prison in Germany. I really didn't see any danger. They talked about a couple things. Someone got stabbed in the foot with a fork, but that just did not seem dangerous to me. I feel like all of those people have everything they need. They have more stuff than people on the outside have. It looks like to me, all you have to do is just sit it out, wait it out. You got everything you need. What kind of idiot goes and creates trouble when he has that kind of luxury in prison? I don't have a criminal mind, but if something should happen and I ever have to get sent up the river, it better be directly to this dangerous German prison.